1927, the year the world got loud. Welcome to 1927. If the previous years were the build-up, 1927 is the drop. This is the year the roaring Twenties finally found a megaphone and screamed at the top of its lungs. We're talking about the year a skinny kid from Minnesota flew a tin can across the ocean and became the most famous human being on the planet. The year the movies finally stopped shutting up and started talking back. And the year the American heartland learned that nature doesn't care about your jazz records when the river decides to take back the land. Stick around, because 1927 is the year the modern age didn't just arrive, it kicked the door down and made itself a drink. The year began with a somber reminder that even in a decade of normalcy, some ghosts refuse to stay buried. While the elite were drinking illegal gin in New York, the South was facing a catastrophe of biblical proportions. In April 1927, the Great Mississippi Flood broke through the levees, covering 27,000 square miles in water and displacing hundreds of thousands of people. It was the most destructive river flood in U.S. history, and it exposed the deep, ugly roots of racial and class inequality as black workers were forced at gunpoint to work on the crumbling levees. 1927 was the year we realized that our engineering might be great, but Mother Nature and our own prejudices were still much, much stronger. While the South was underwater, a different kind of storm was brewing in the courtrooms of New York. This was the year of Ruth Snyder and Judd Gray, a pair of lovers who decided that a sash weight and some chloroform were the best way to handle a pesky husband. It was the double indemnity case before the movie even existed, and the tabloids turned it into a national obsession. 1927 was the year we learned that a grisly murder could be sold as entertainment, culminating in a smuggled photo of Ruth in the electric chair that became the most famous and most morbid newspaper cover of the decade. But if you wanted a hero instead of a villain, May 1927 gave you the greatest one of all. A 25-year-old airmail pilot named Charles Lindbergh climbed into a single-engine plane called the Spirit of St. Louis and took off from New York. 33.5 hours later, he landed in Paris, becoming the first person to fly solo non-stop across the Atlantic. He didn't have a radio, a front window, or a parachute. Just 5 sandwiches and a legendary amount of luck. 1927 was the year the world shrank overnight, turning Lucky Lindy into a godlike figure and proving that one man with enough nerve could conquer the impossible. Just as Lindbergh was landing in France, the power players in Hollywood were busy making sure they'd always have a way to congratulate themselves. In May 1924, the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences was officially founded. It started as a way to handle labor disputes and improve the image of the film industry, but it quickly turned into the ultimate old boys club that would eventually give us the Oscars. 1927 was the year the movie business decided it was art with a capital A, ensuring that the faces on the screen would be treated like royalty for the rest of time. While the stars were celebrating, the Midwest was witnessing a tragedy that still haunts the American education system. In a small town in Michigan, a disgruntled school board member committed the Bath School Disaster, the deadliest act of mass murder in a school in U.S. history. He blew up the elementary school with hundreds of pounds of dynamite, killing dozens of children. 1927 was the year we learned that the darkness of the human mind could strike in the most innocent of places, leaving a scar on the American heartland that all the jazz and gin in the world couldn't heal. In the middle of all this drama, the man who put America on wheels decided it was time for a change. In May 1927, Henry Ford officially stopped production of the Model T. After 15 million cars and 19 years, the Tin Lizzie was finally retired to make way for the more stylish Model A. It was the end of an era for the American factory, as Ford shut down his plants for months to retool, leaving hundreds of thousands of workers wondering if efficiency was actually their friend. 1927 was the year we realized that in the world of consumerism, even a legend has an expiration date. But as the cars were changing, a new kind of it factor was taking over the culture. This was the year of Clara Bow and her movie It, which turned the silent film star into the first true It girl. She represented everything the older generation hated and the younger generation craved: independence, sexuality, and a total lack of shame. 1927 was the year we defined the modern woman as a brand, proving that if you had that mysterious it quality, you could own the heart of every person in the theater. While Clara Bow was owning the screen, a quiet inventor in a small laboratory was busy inventing the future of the living room. In September 1927, Philo Farnsworth successfully transmitted the first electronic television image, a simple, straight line. He was only 21 years old and had come up with the idea while plowing hayfields in Idaho. 1927 was the year the Idiot Box was born, beginning the slow process of turning the American family away from the radio and toward a glowing screen that would eventually consume our entire reality. Finally, the year's most controversial legal battle reached its tragic climax. Despite global protests and pleas from world leaders, the Italian anarchists Sacco and Vanzetti were executed in the electric chair in August. To their supporters, they were martyrs of a paranoid, anti-immigrant system. To the government, they were dangerous radicals. 1927 was the year the American justice system proved that even with shaky evidence, the Red Scare was still the most powerful force in the courtroom, leaving a legacy of doubt and anger that would linger for generations. But while the courtroom was settling old debts and the television was flickering into existence, the world of entertainment was about to experience a seismic shift that would leave half of Hollywood out of a job. In October 1927, a movie called The Jazz Singer premiered in New York. For the first time, audiences didn't just see a star's lips move, they heard Al Jolson speak and sing. The talkies had arrived, and just like that, the silent era was dead. 1927 was the year the silver screen found its voice, turning the Dream Factory into a noisy, chaotic, and much more expensive business that would never know a moment of silence again. While the theaters were getting louder, the ballparks were getting more legendary. In September 1927, Babe Ruth stepped up to the plate and hit his 60th home run of the season, a record that would stand for 34 years. He was the Sultan of SWAT, a man who lived as large as he played, and he led the 1927 New York Yankees, often called Murderers Row, to one of the most dominant World Series wins in history. 1927 was the year baseball moved from being a game to being a myth, with the Babe as its undisputed god, proving that in America you could eat a dozen hot dogs and still be the greatest athlete on the planet. As the Yankees were rounding the bases, a different kind of engineering miracle was being completed beneath the Hudson River. In November, the Holland Tunnel officially opened, connecting New Jersey to Manhattan. It was the first mechanically ventilated underwater tunnel in the world, designed specifically for the millions of cars that were now flooding the city streets. 1927 was the year we realized that if we couldn't go over the obstacles, we'd just go under them, cementing New York's status as a modern metropolis that never had to wait for a ferry ever again. While we were digging under the river, a man named Gutzon Borglum was looking at a granite mountain in South Dakota and seeing faces. In October 1927, work officially began on Mount Rushmore. It was a project of staggering ego and massive amounts of dynamite, intended to carve the faces of 4 presidents into the very backbone of the continent. 1927 was the year we decided that our history was so big it needed to be carved into the earth itself, beginning a 14-year struggle to turn a mountain into a monument that would outlast the very civilization that built it. But the year wasn't all about massive construction and home runs. It also saw a revolution on the Broadway stage that changed musical theater forever. In December 1927, Showboat premiered. Unlike the light, fluffy comedies of the past, it dealt with serious themes of racial prejudice, tragic love, and the hard reality of life on the Mississippi. 1927 was the year the American musical grew up, proving that you could have a catchy tune and a social conscience at the same time, and ensuring that the theater would never be just song and dance again. In the world of international relations, the year saw a rare moment of optimistic, if perhaps naive, diplomacy. This was the year that French Foreign Minister Aristide Briand proposed a pact to outlaw war, which would eventually become the Kellogg-Briand Pact. The idea was that nations would simply agree not to use war as a way to solve their problems. 1927 was the year we tried to sign a peace treaty with the future, hoping that a piece of paper could stop the cycle of violence that had defined the human story since the beginning. However, the reality on the ground was often much more tragic than the ideals in Paris. In September 1927, the world lost a true icon of modern dance in the most bizarre and horrifying way possible. Isadora Duncan, the woman who had revolutionized dance with her free-flowing movements, was killed in France when her long silk scarf got caught in the open-spoked wheels of a moving car. 1926 was a year where the new machines we loved so much proved they could be just as deadly as they were fast, leaving a legendary career to end in a freak accident that felt like a scene from a dark novel. While the world of dance was mourning, the world of commerce was getting organized. This was the year that the Federal Radio Commission, FRC, was created to bring order to the chaotic airwaves. Before this, radio stations would just broadcast over each other, creating a mess of static for listeners. 1927 was the year the government stepped in to play traffic cop for our ears, deciding who got to speak and who stayed silent, and laying the foundation for the massive media conglomerates that would eventually control the American mind. To cap off a year of incredible speed and sound, the Model A Ford was finally unveiled to the public in December. After months of secrecy and a total factory shutdown, millions of people jammed into showrooms just to get a glimpse of the car that was replacing the Model T. It was the ultimate consumer event of the decade. 1927 ended with a nation that was feeling faster, louder, and more modern than ever before, convinced that the party of the Roaring Twenties would simply go on forever. So, that was 1927, a year of floods and flights, of talking pictures and home run records, and of mountains being turned into myths. We were a nation that was flying over the ocean and digging under rivers, listening to the first talkies while watching our original heroes fade into history. We were a nation at the absolute peak of its confidence, not knowing that the clock was already ticking toward a very different kind of decade. Stick around, because 1928 is coming, and it's bringing a mouse named Mickey, a guy named Hoover, and a whole lot more roaring before the silence of the crash finally sets in.